Hey guys, Disclaimer Magic here with another wild idea. I combined X-Mage games with online stats about MTGO mixed with tournament results and came up with a pretty good idea of the meta right now. Surprise, it's crap. I've seen worse, especially when it comes to a lack of deck variety, but boy are there some toxic decks out right now. Literally anything with Karn or Teferi or both and a bunch of control bullshit is just going to outdraw you late game, and it's crap. It's impossible to play against. I hate it. Oh, let me correct that. Everyone hates it. Nobody wants to play against that level of control. And so you got to say, okay, how do we prevent this? How does Wizards of the Coast design sets to not let this happen? Well, maybe if they stop bitching about genders on Tumblr for 5 seconds and realize that colorless card draw engines should never be a thing ever, under any circumstances. Might as well have called it Smuggler's Karn. Oh, and anybody who tries to design a card with the phrase without paying its mana cost on it, just fire them. Fire them immediately. They don't know how to do their job. But other than standalone broken things and just utterly ridiculous cards that never should have been approved, what's really wrong with Standard right now? And remember, before, at least Rick's, it was, hey, Standard is unplayable garbage and all the sets are worth nothing. Why? Because nothing can beat Energy. So was Energy too powerful? Did, by the way, Mark Rosewater, that's who designed it, did Mark Rosewater design it improperly? I would say no. I thought it was a wonderful mechanic. But you cannot let people play 3 and 4 color that easily and that consistently. You can't do it. Okay, you guys remember Constellation? Not a powerful mechanic, but Energy, basically mana that you can use between turns and between phases. You're going to design something of that power level, you have to limit it to 2 colors. It can't be 3. So they banned Attune and they banned Rogue Refiner because both of them were just too damn good and one of them was a color fixer. It made sense. It was too late, though. What you have to do is not break Standard for a year in the first place. You have to prevent that. Right now, it's absolute garbage. I mean, you look online, people on X-Mage, and from what I've heard, people on Arena are pulling this 10 times harder. It's literally like 12 cards of hand disruption, 12 to 20 removal, and then Walking Ballista and maybe Torment. That's it. That's the win condition. So you just piss them off, shut down everything they're doing, remove any kind of answer directly from their hand, anything they drop into the battlefield, undo it, outdraw them 2-1 with usually Arvad, or not, no, other vampire guy. The one where you like pay a life and draw a card or whatever. You know, the Bloodfast guy. Then you got blue-white, literally anything. I don't even care what's after that. Just blue-white control, outdraw, loop crap. Well, that's interesting. One of them's mono-black. The best deck, arguably, in the world right now is black-red, semi-vehicle, rush control aggro, which, how is that a thing? Oh, it's a creature rush quick damage deck and a control deck. How the hell is that a thing? You're supposed to choose one or the other or a mix. That's why that deck is so damn annoying. And then there's blue-white control. Wait a minute, none of those are 3-color decks. And yeah, they all have 3-color variants. It's just they don't need to. So what was wrong with Energy and what's wrong now? It's the same problem. Too many sets are legal. Way too many sets are legal at the same time, and it's letting people build too powerful of decks. They have too many options. Just think, if the number of counterspells was down, the number of draw was down, the number of scry options was down, the number of planeswalkers was down, because remember, people are throwing Dovin Bond in that crap. The number of mechanic choices like vehicles, if that was down, we wouldn't have the absolute shit show that it was right now. Here's the thing, Wizards knew this would be a problem. Now, they changed this very early on when I started playing, so I might not have this quite right, but I believe it was 3-3-1 rotate. Right now, it seems to be, 8, 9, whatever the hell they settled on. I mean, as far as I know, it was supposed to cycle at the release of M19, but now it's going to do it the set after for no reason. That is far too many sets to be legal. In fact, we haven't even added M19 yet. As soon as M19 drops, just give people a little bit of time because it'll be complicated as hell to build from that big of a pool. But when people figure it out, Standard is going to be unplayable. Magic is going to be unplayable. Just from the control and the options and the draw and the just let's, get down on the curve with cheaper stuff. Oh, it's going to be a disaster. And everything's going to go back to normal when the first Rivals set drops. So if you recall, it wasn't supposed to be this way. It was supposed to be, I want to say, a 6-4 rotation or something like that. Basically, every 6 months, 2 sets cycle out instead of every year, 4 sets. But then a small minority of whiny assholes and pro players were like, wah, 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 it's so expensive to net deck. Oh, $500 decks, we can't do this. I don't want to rebuild my deck every single time a set comes out, which, by the way, wasn't true, but also that is already true no matter what. Oh yeah, guys, Kaladesh block is still legal. Everybody's still got their red-white vehicles decks together. Every single time a set releases, the decks change drastically, except when energy dominated, but that was a mistake. Oh, and I have a suggestion. Don't net deck, or build the deck before anybody else does before it gets popular. Or build something that specifically beats what's popular, because then you'll have a better deck. Or just do anything other than drop $300, $400, $500 on a deck. Like, literally anything. So all those whiners, the only point that they had was dual lands are expensive. Yeah, and you get to use them for 6 months less. Whatever, get over it. Even if they were $10 a piece, which hasn't been the norm lately, I would gladly trade $40 and 6 months, basically, for a standard that is actually playable and not completely broken. So all this whining about value, wah, 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 it's absolute horseshit. It's completely incorrect. So Wizards is probably going to ban, I don't know, 5 cards minimum after the release of M19. It's probably going to be Karn, Scorpion God, and oh boy, they might still go after Glimmer, honestly. That's one of the biggest problem cards right now. It still is. Oh, and Torrential, and probably Anointed Procession. And then they'll have to apologize, explain what went wrong, and say, you know what, everybody who doesn't like this, just shut the hell up. We're going to a 16-month cycle, or 18, or what, I think it would be 18. Every 2 sets, 2-set cycle. Real simple. And just think about it, you're less likely to lose as much if they cycle out less cards at a time. You might have replaceable cards and be able to keep playing the deck. And by the time it rotates, are people even playing decks that are the absolute, like, pure mechanic from that set? Like, oh, I'm playing Energy, and Kaladesh cycled out. There are literally no more Energy cards, there goes my entire deck. No, not 18 months later. Nobody's playing Energy 18 months later, and Energy was Energy. I mean, I would say people were playing Devotion from Theros right up until it cycled because Devotion was freaking amazing and it worked with absolutely everything. But typically, that will not be the case. And even if it was, you got 1.5 years out of the damn deck. Everything cycles eventually. Is 6 months really worth that much to anybody? It isn't. I mean, it just isn't. So that would take the power level standard back down to something reasonable. It would make deck building and deck building ideas and just perfecting decks a lot easier because you would have a lot less cards to consider. Toxic cards like Thoughtseize, Ugin, I don't know, I wouldn't really say Hero's Downfall. Can't think of any other great examples. Oh, Coco. Oh my god, Collected Frickin' Company. That card can go burn in hell. So toxic garbage like that would not be in standard as long. Honestly, this fixes everything, so people just need to shut the hell up, get over it, and Wizards needs to pull off the Band-Aid, piss off people, have every, toddler stomp off and I'm going to play a different game, wah, wah, wah. Like, whatever. They're the ones annoying everybody and driving people out of FNM and ruining online for everybody. All they do is copy online decks and play them. Those are the people like, it's too expensive, it's too expensive. You're making it too expensive. Get the hell out of the game. I want to build some creative, powerful $50 shit and have a chance of winning with it. Not have, 40 control spells in my face every damn game. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the absolute just disaster that was standard for the last 1.5 years, and now it's getting bad again, do you think that that's enough evidence if they point to it and say, this is what you get, we're fixing it, shut up about it? Do you think that would be enough to get people to shut up about it? And they could just say, screw it, we're going to a 6-4 rotation. I think it would. I think if they explained it that way in that context, they'd just say, it's too hard to play test, it's too many cards legal, we're just going to cut 6 months off it so that people can play reasonable decks and standard isn't perpetually broken forever. At that point, if anybody's still contesting that proposal, they're just an idiot. They just don't understand math. They don't understand deck building. They really just don't understand anything. At that point, it would just be, I fear change and somebody told me this will cost me money. Wah. And this is the internet. There's people out there who, that's the level of thought they put into it. They let somebody else do the thinking for them and then, ooh, something to be outraged about. Cool, I'm going to echo what they're saying without thinking about it. Sound familiar? You know anybody like that? So that honestly needs to be done. Either that or say we've got a new classification of cards called Control, and it'll just be creature removal and counter spells, and you're not allowed to have more than 20 in a deck. I mean, that would really just solve it. No more Karn Teferi, no win condition garbage, no more Approach of the Second Sun. That would solve it permanently. But all these like common sense things like don't allow the game to be won prior to turn 4 in Modern. Just make it a rule, because it already is a policy. Make it literally a rule. There is absolutely no downside whatsoever to doing that, but Wizards just won't implement it. Probably because it was my idea. But for the record, I copied that idea from StarCraft 1. Oh, the NR10 days. That means no rush 10, 10-minute counter. Oh, and if you think, oh no, it's not that bad, it's not that bad. GP attendance is half, F&M attendance is down the toilet, everybody at F&M's pissed, nobody's even bothering to trade, nobody's building a new deck. I'd say people are showing up 50% of the time instead of 90% of the time from multiple local gaming stores, and I also asked on social media. It's bad. Nobody wants to play Magic right now, and that's a very bad thing. So they just need to fix it. And usually when it's this broken, you need to take a drastic action. So pretty much outlined what the solution is. Hopefully they implement it. I'll see you guys next video.